my phone had fallen under the seat of the car. So when they asked for my phone, I told them I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So at Park Place, it rang loud. They were like, "Malaya wewe, ulikuwa unatudanganya hauna simu. Utaona, hata watoto hautaona."
Hello and welcome to part 2. I feel like we needed a moment of silence to just celebrate and appreciate Tete. And now we move on to Joy. Joy, you've been widowed for 12 years.
Yes.
Exactly time your children have been alive.
Yes.
Or in this world.
Actually, yes.
So do you want to take us to where it happened? How did it happen? When did it happen?
Well, mine is, I can smile about it now.
Okay.
But I think when you're in it, that's when it really hurts. So we had been dating for 2 years.
Okay.
And got pregnant before we got married. I'm a church girl. So, yeah, there was that.
Okay.
So there was that happening, and we went, he came, met my parents. He had met them before, and then now he came officially. My dad was not too pleased because he was pushing for dates. He wanted the process to begin so that marriage can happen.
Oh, date for the wedding?
Yes.
Okay.
And what he wasn't realizing is that I'm an only child, and he was not giving my father time to process the fact that, hold on, she's not only dating and wants to get married, she's pregnant. Like, how about you give him time to process?
Yeah.
So that was also happening.
Were you so close with your dad? Did you have such a...
My dad and I are friends, are good friends, but he's very quiet and I'm a chatterbox. So, yeah. But
like home,
yes, but he really loves us, and he shows up for us in a big way.
Okay.
So, night of 27th August 2010, inauguration of the Constitution, Kibaki gives us a holiday. Kenyans and holidays, right?
Yeah.
So we decide, his mom wasn't well. I told him, let's go see her. So we went and saw her. Now, backstory of
see his mom that day.
Yeah, on that day. Backstory with the mom. When I was introduced to the mom, I was introduced as a friend first. But we had already started dating. Then he went later on his own to tell his mom, oh, you see that girl I met on Sunday?
Yeah, my friend.
That's a girl I'm married. And this I was told way after his burial.
Yeah.
Because he could not tell me that when we were dating. He knew I would not stay.
Yeah.
What the mom told him was, if you choose her, you're not welcome in my home again. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So she didn't choose me. Explains the relationship we had, because she only used to talk to me when she sees me with him. And every time I would visit her, the best I could get from her was, hi. That's it. And all the conversation will be steered to her son.
How was that, please?
So I thought, I used to think, okay, we'll warm up. We'll come around. And we never came around. So inauguration, we've gone to visit. And the dowry process had started, and they had already come home. They'd come to our home. And I remember she came by force. She didn't willingly.
She actually came.
She came.
Okay.
But I think she came after the son told her, I'm doing this with or without you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she came, and I remember that night, my dad asked me, are you friends with her? Like, who? His mom. Like, well, work in progress. And then my dad was like, she didn't look happy. Like, yeah, work in progress.
Yeah.
As I said. So when we went to visit her, he left me there and went.
Okay.
Remember, all I used to get was, hi. Yeah. So now he's left me and there's this awkward moment for, I don't know what to tell
just the
her.
two of you?
Just the two of us. And then because they had been home, that's the first time she actually had a conversation with me, but it was all centered around, is that your home? All that land is yours. All the buildings in there are yours. The food that your mom packed for us to go back home with, all that came from her shamba. I'm like, yeah, what's the point of these questions? But that's the first time we actually had a conversation with her.
How many months pregnant were you at this point?
Maybe 4 weeks. It wasn't showing at all.
Okay.
It wasn't showing. So we chat. She made lunch. We had lunch. Then he came back in the evening and told me we need to go. And then I gave him this look for, you did this on purpose, because I think he was thinking, if she's going to be my wife, I need to figure out how these two women get along. And so it's evening. We're going home. And we passed by our friend's house in Langata because we had been given some porridge that was too much, so we wanted to share it. Yeah, let's just share it. And we stayed there for a bit, and then we left. I got uncomfortable. The first trimester was weird. I used to have some very uncomfortable sharp pains that used to come from the front to the back. Yeah, so I got uncomfortable, so we said, go home. So outside, we used to live in Langata. So outside the parking, what we used to do is we had a routine. If it's at night and we are parked, he would come out first and then open the door for me just to make sure that the environment is okay. Yeah, then we go in. So this day we've arrived, we've talked a bit, and then he's come out. When he came out,
You're at your home now.
we're outside the apartment that we were living in.
Yes.
So when he came out, I had him talk to people. And I'm thinking it's just before 10.
Yeah.
Who would be talking to you? Then he comes back into the car and gives me this look for Likubai. I was at the co-driver seat.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, and then as soon as he gave me that look, I had a tap on my window.
Yeah.
So instead of opening the door, I locked it from the inside. Then someone now yanked him out. And then suddenly there was a carjacking happening. And they took over the car, the control of the car. One guy came to the front. He was pushed to the back. The guy who was tapping on my window went to the back. So now with all coming, there were like 3 of them and him in the middle. So when they closed the door, they cocked the gun and said, lest you think this is a toy, it's actually a real gun. So then they're asking each other, which side do we go? We said, we go to Uhuru.
There was nobody at home, outside, nobody in the...
It was 10 o'clock. It was a Friday, people are clubbing. It was just a normal day. But the watchman saw, but he did nothing. He saw what was happening.
So there was even a watchman.
Yeah. So suddenly they decide we're going to Rongai.
Yeah.
And they're going to drive for as long as the petrol runs out. That's when they'll dump us. I was okay with that plan.
Yeah.
Just don't harm us.
Yeah.
In fact, have the car. Yeah. So when we're in the car, he's telling them, you can have the car. We'll never even report it missing. Just leave us alone. We've given you everything. This was a weird experience because they asked for my wallet. They checked that there was no money and gave it back to me. Mostly they don't do that. They normally take your things, yeah? So anyway, we went and we were going to the site for Park Place. My phone had fallen under the seat of the car. So when they asked for my phone, I told them, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So at Park Place, it rang loud. They were like, "Balaya wewe, ulikuwa unatudanganya hauna simu, utaona hata watoto hautaona."
They knew you were pregnant.
So all this time, sorry, I digress. I forgot to tell you something. When the guy who took control of the car, when he took control of the car, he touched my breast. So the story changed from we're going to drive for as long as we can, and when fuel runs out, we dump them, to nataka uding.
So the one was driving?
Yes. He changed the story and he wanted now to have his way. So now when he heard that, he started trying to defend me.
Your husband?
Yeah. And he's telling them, leave her alone. she's pregnant, leave her alone. And you're going to stress her for what? Are they listening? So now we are now headed to Nangurai. And then they start talking amongst themselves. They're saying, but these guys look like money. Why don't we hold them somewhere and ask for ransom? Then this guy is like, no, you're complicating this story. Tunaenda kutafuta kichaka, mi nitake udem, nipate udem, alafu twende. So the more they do that, the more he's telling them, leave her alone.
Yeah.
That time, I'm in shock. All I could see was my hands were shaking, and I wasn't talking. Then my phone has rung, and then they're like, even out of the hotel. Then we get to the place, the entrance to Masai Lodge from Magadi Road, and there was a roadblock.
Yeah.
Saving grace, I thought. So we were stopped so that oncoming cars pass.
Yeah.
And where we stopped, the cop was right there. So I opened the window, and in my head, I wanted to create a scene so that he knows we're in trouble or something. But when I look back, the gun was on his head. So I'm wondering, how do I create a scene without triggering this gun? So I rolled down the window, and then I said, "Habari yako askari?" He's like, I'm sorry. Then I broke into a scream. I don't know what those cops thought.
You screamed?
Yeah.
And what?
But when I was screaming, the guy who was right behind me yanked my hair so that I can shuffle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cops thought, but they let us go.
They thought you were high.
Probably. But they let us go.
Without
And-
any question. Like, not trying to figure out what happened. Are you for real?
Are you listening?
I'm even panicking.
Yeah. At that point, I knew
I get
any ounce of mercy
Yeah.
is gone. Like, they're going to do exactly what they have said, just to spite us and to spite him. So, just after the roadblock, the car is now moving, and I look at him, and I'm looking at him for, what do we do? And I remember he said, get out. Because he was sandwiched between two guys, so he couldn't leave. I don't know where adrenaline checked him, and maybe it's him telling me, get out.
Yeah.
But I opened that door when the car was moving, and I put my leg out. And all I remember was rolling out. And because of the process, my dad tried to explain physics out, what happened that night. But that's why, because one leg was outside, I could only be pulled out because the car was at high speed.
Yeah.
I think it was at 80 or something. So I could only be pulled out. So I was pulled out, I rolled, stood up, and continued screaming.
You stood up even afterwards?
Yeah.
Duh.
And it's 10 o'clock, yeah? People are still going home. And Magadi Road always has traffic.
Yeah.
So I'm screaming, and people are looking at me, those ones out.
Are you for real?
She crazy.
They happened to us.
As I'm screaming, the cops walk up to me. I didn't fall too far from them.
Yeah.
They walk up to me and they're like, did anybody? I'm like, I'm the one who said hi to you. Then he said, oh, no one is scream. They had me scream.
And did that.
They did nothing.
What did they think you were doing? Saying hi.
Or
just-
I'm like, really? A scream is bad. I screamed because that was a car that had carjackers. My husband is there. He's innocent. I need you to save. They have a gun. And they have guns. I need you to save her. Then I go, Sijeni, what that? Tutapata gari.
Tutapata gari.
But they're doing nothing. They're standing there. Then they did radio call to the Rongai police station and said, if you see registration number this car, there's one innocent civilian, the rest are armed robbers. Stop it. And then now we chilled.
Huh?
Yeah. We chilled. When I tell you I can smile about it now, yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
I'm furious.
I've had serious authority issues with our police force from that day.
So wait,
I don't.
you sat there, you were hurt, yeah?
I was
Like,
standing.
imagine
I was standing.
You were hurt from the
Yeah,
rolling.
because when I rolled, I got tarmac.
Tarmac, yeah.
Yeah. So my legs were swollen and I was bleeding, and I couldn't tell where I was bleeding from because it's at night, right?
Yeah.
So as we are standing and hoping that they shall stop the car,
Yeah.
I tell them, can I borrow your phone? Because they had taken my phone. can I borrow your phone and call someone to just let them know what's happening? So he gave me his phone. I called my mom. I told her, Mom, call me back, we'll be carjacked. My mom just dropped the phone. Instead of calling, she just panicked. So my dad is on hold now, called back and asked me, where are you?
Yeah.
And I told him, are you hurt? I told him, I'm bleeding. I don't know where, but I'm bleeding. Then he told me, let me talk to the cop. So the cop was told, I'm her father, and she's pregnant. I need you to do me a favor. Could you check for me? She said she's bleeding. Could you please check for me where it is that she's bleeding? So I could see the cop. I didn't know that's what he was being told, but he was with a torch just looking at me. And then he's like, her knees are hurt, her leg is hurt, and she's her leg is swollen. Yeah, other than that, she's actually starting. So my dad tells him, okay, I need you to do me a favor. Could you please get her to hospital? Because she's pregnant. We don't know what else has happened. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. The cop was like, okay, sawa. Madam, panda hii boda. Itakupeleka hospitali. He stopped a random boda for me to get on. I told him, you know what? I'll stand here all night if I have to. I'm from strangers to another stranger.
Yeah.
If it's not you guys taking me to hospital, I'd rather stand here. So after a while, my dad calls me back and tells me, have you been taken to hospital? I'm like, they stopped a boda, I refused to get on. Then my dad tells them, please, she's pregnant. If there's a miscarriage happening, we can't stop it right now, and we don't even know whether it's actually happening. Could you please organize for even one of your cars to take her to hospital? Lakini wajua hakuna mafuta, gari haina mafuta, Land Rover. Yeah. Now, by the time itoke sasa Rongai police station, itahitaji mafuta. So all this time, as my dad is trying to talk to them, my mom has rallied up everyone who's related to me in this Nairobi and woken them up and told them, go find my daughter. She's on the road somewhere. And the last conversation that had been held was they were going to organize transport so that I'm taken to Nairobi Hospital. So now all my family gathered at Nairobi Hospital. 1 hour later, I'm not showing up. So they're asking, where is she? Where exactly is she? So my dad's brought, they said, do you know this is nonsense? I've gone to look for her myself. So he came now this side of Rongai. On his way, he calls the wife. The wife was an OCP in one of the areas in Kenya. She's like, hold on. This happened at 10. And you guys are telling me now. Get me that number for that cop. So she called. Suddenly, I'm seeing the cop saluting on the phone. I was like, yeah, my auntie has been called.
It took that long?
Imagine. She's like, how dare you say that the parent should give you fuel? Those cars are not for you guys to be fuel for it. And suddenly, Land Cruiser is out of the cop station. It's there. I'm told, madam, ungetuambia we ni mtoto wa nani? I'm like, must I be associated with anybody in this country be here for you to help me? I didn't want it to get there, but clearly, you are not helping.
Yeah.
So suddenly there's a Land Cruiser. I got into it. And then on our way to just over there at Bombers, they start saying, before I go to hospital, I have to make a report of what happened. So now they're arguing which cop station to take me. Do I go to Rongai or do I go to Langata? Because carjacking was at Langata, but I was found at Rongai.
Yeah.
So we went to Langata because that's where the incident happened. Then when they went to say why they're there, now the Langata cops are saying, no, it should be Rongai. Now there was a conversation.
Okay.
As we're waiting, on the radio I hear the car has been found. And then there was some lingo I didn't understand. So the cops came back. I told them, we're not going to hospital, we're going back to the city where the car has been found. Umesikia aje? Kwa radio. Then they're like, if we don't take you to hospital, we'll be in trouble. I'm like, but if she asks you why you didn't take me, you tell her I refused. But take me back. I need to find out he's okay. So we go back. And that's begrudgingly so they take me back. But they didn't take me back to the site of where the car was found. I was sent back to Rongai police station. Then I was told we're going to secure the scene. I was like, okay, so I was left pending there. That time my leg is swelling. It was so swollen because of the like, I think a chunk of meat had come out and I didn't know. So it was just swelling up. So at some point now, my uncle is told they drove back to Rongai police station. He comes finally and he tells me, I need to take you to hospital. I'm like, no, we have to go to the scene. He's like, no, you need to see a doctor. And you've been standing for long and we need to check the vitals of the babies. I was like, okay. Then I went to Nairobi hospital. I was treated, I was cleaned out. Ultrasound was amazing. There was a normal heartbeat on them. The only escalated heartbeat was mine. They looked so calm. My mom called my cousin. You know, my cousin called my mom. She's like, oh my gosh, they're so calm. They look like they're sleepy with all that's happening.
Yeah.
Now, little did I know that the reason why I was taken to Rongai police station to secure the scene for them is because he had been killed, the calf, and left there. So they did not want to be the ones to deal with me, who may have become derailed by that site. That's why they did tell me. So now everyone around me has been told, car has been found, body has been found. Everyone knew but me. So when my uncle now confirmed that, no, everything is okay, she's fine, she'll be cleaned up, he went back to Rongai just to now confirm, because they needed to identify the body and say that it's him. Then my cousins, the ones who were left with me, went and told the daughter, now this is a situation we don't know how to handle, and if you go along with her, because I didn't have wounds that warranted me to be admitted. I could do dressing every day, and you don't have to be in hospital. So they told the doctor, she has just lost her husband, and we don't know how we're gonna deal with that, and we want to tell her when her parents are here. Can you keep her overnight? Because if we go with her home, to our house, she'll know something is wrong. Because she's been asking, have you found him? Have you found him?
Yeah.
So she told the doctor, and yeah, you tell us what we need to do. So he came and he told me, you know, you're carrying 2 Kenyans in you. We need to make sure that they're fine. So we are keeping you for observation overnight. I was like, okay, fine. No problem.
Sorry, can you hear that baby? And she's just strolling. I can do this.
So, I slept overnight, but my adrenaline was so high. I think I was given 3 sleeping pills to knock me out. And all this time, I would see someone passing, and they know my story. Have they found him? Oh, then like, you know, or yet. Have they found him? Not yet. So I finally slept, and then morning, the day after that was Friday night. So morning of Saturday, my parents come, and they're allowed to see me before visiting hours. And the first thing I asked them was, have they found him? Yeah. My mom didn't even know what to say, because for her, I think she saw my life. Today you have her, tomorrow she's gone. So my dad tried to tell me, he couldn't. So he went to the corridor and they found the chaplain of Nairobi hospital and told them, we have a situation here. Can you help us break the news to her? He's like, yeah, no problem. So I was taken to a secluded room, and then I was told my family was all over the place. And then he told me, could you tell me what happened? I was like, okay. I narrate the story again. And then he listened, and then he said, you're a very brave and courageous woman. So I'm looking at him and I was okay. Where are you going with this? And then he said, I need you to remember that you're very courageous and brave, but can't interrupt it. I'm like, so what? He didn't make it. Then I looked around and everyone knew. Yeah. Everyone looked down. So they all knew. I looked around and I asked her, you all knew. I've been asking this from 2 a.m. You all knew. And you didn't tell me. I broke down all of her seconds. I wiped my tears for only 5. And I didn't cry again.
What do you think happened?
I got into denial.
Were you angry at them that they didn't tell you? Or do you think it was important for them not to tell you at that point?
No. Why I think I slipped into that denial as soon as was because when we found out I was pregnant, I freaked out. He did. I was like, what we were? Yeah. I did 3 tests. 3. That's how freaked out and in denial I was for, I'm not pregnant before marriage, please. I had the way my life was going to turn out. This was not it, you know. So when I had the heartbeats, that's when I believed I was pregnant. I was drawing strength from him that we were gonna do this.
Yeah.
Then now you're telling me he's gone.
Middle in the wall.
How?
How do you do that? Where do you start? So I wiped my tears and I just refused to believe he was going. So everyone used to come to hospital, not because I'm sick, hoping today she's crying. Because I didn't cry again. I kid you not. Grace, I did not cry again. 5 days. Everyone is asking, this chick, she's not breaking down. Then one day, no, that was on Saturday. I think on Monday, my dad comes and tells me everything is set. The funeral is on Friday. And I said, so soon? He's like, what do you mean? He's coming back. Why are you guys rushing? My dad was like, this chick, she's not processing this dude. They even sent a counselor.
Yeah.
The counselor used to come, we talk about everything else but that.
Yeah.
So I told them, okay, fine. You want me to believe he's gone? Show me the body. Show me.
I was gonna ask this. That, can you see it?
Yeah, show me the body. So the doctor, my mom was like, no, she'll get stressed and miscarry. The doctor was like, actually, we've been trying to help her process this thing and she's refused. I ended up staying in hospital, not because I was sick, because I just slipped into denial and they could see it.
Yeah.
And they thought if we let her go, that at whatever point this hits her, if any miscarriage happens, she can bleed out. So let's keep her and try and bring her to terms. Whilst she's here, we can manage her. So they said we've been trying to get her to talk about it and she has refused. So if this is going to help her, by all means, let's take her.
Yeah.
So the next day, everything was arranged. I was taken to Omash. I was told to sit somewhere so that they would quickly win. And as he's coming, I could see the head, layout of the head. And I could tell that I knew it was him. So I waited for him to come. I stood. He was uncovered. I touched him and it was so cold. I don't know. To this day, I don't know why I asked this, but I want to see the whole board. I have no idea why.
Maybe you wanted to see if he was hurt. I don't wanted to see if he was actually, hey, how did he die?
I don't know why I asked that. Then they refused and told me, no, we can only uncover until the chest. I told him, okay, so show me where he was shot.
Yeah.
Then now they uncovered because it was one bullet to the heart. It hit the heart, like he was gone.
Yeah.
So I looked at him, I touched him, then I looked at my dad and I asked him, who's going to rub my back when I'm in pain? Stop it.
Started to develop.
That's when it hits that he's gone. That's when
He should work for you. Wait, not me.
It's been 12 years of crying. I didn't know how was life going to be after this? He was the one I was drawing strength from. In fact, when we found out I was pregnant, the first thing he asked me is, so, is there anything else that can make you run away from me now?
Like I got you.
You know, you're going nowhere now. I couldn't bring my mind to process that. And my dad could not help. The one thing that they're built to do is protect their kids, but this was a journey that he couldn't, And I was told not to see visitors for the next one day or so, just so that I process and come to terms with it.
Yeah.
And now it started hitting him. And
I'm like a tap over here. Can you please stop?
And it was painful. It was, I didn't know what to do. I kept asking my mom, how am I going to raise them? Not one, two, and that at the same time, and he's not there. How am I going to do this when my mom is like, we're there for you. I'm like, no, you don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
I love you, but you don't get it.
Yeah. I want him.
At the funeral, I was asked to put a tribute, and my tribute talks about these babies who will never know you, the kind of man you are. And it hurts
Yeah.
that they have to live this life without knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll only live the memory of what I will tell them about you. And the parents, when we went to Umash that morning of the funeral, you could clearly tell my family and his family. And we kept asking ourselves, what have we done? That whole week when the preparations were happening, my mom would come see me in hospital, then go to his mom's house and just make sure that the mashakaya things are happening and everything. So, because we're already a family, right? So on Friday morning when we're at the funeral home, the distinction of families, we didn't understand what happened. And then I requested to be left alone, just to view the body by myself. And his family asked, so that you do what with his body? What haven't you done?
But you for you.
Yeah. So we went to church. I was supposed to read my tribute or ask. I was supposed to be asked if I want someone to read my tribute. Everyone read their tribute but me. And at some point, the auntie was asked, had requested to sing a song for her nephew. When she started singing it, I called you. I walked out. My mom thought I would cause drama. I'm like, I don't have the energy for that drama. When my cousin stopped me, I told him, leave me alone. I don't belong here. And I walked out of that church. So he went and stood waiting for me at the entrance of the church and asked me, where do you want to go? I'm like, anywhere but here.
Yeah.
Let's wait for the service to end, but I need to be away. When the service ended, so there was an entourage to where the funeral was happening, the funeral site. By the time I got there, he was 6 feet under.
They buried him with that.
And my dad told me, let's go up. I'm like, for what? They've already buried him. It's like, no, that's taking the soil and throwing it in is significant for you.
Go you here. Explosion.
I was like, okay, fine. I was still on a wheelchair because my legs were swollen. So my dad and a friend supported me and took me up. Scooped some soil and put it. And then for some reason, everyone who had come out in support of me and him, we felt we hadn't given him a serif. So we hung around. Because clearly they didn't recognize anybody. Even our pastor from our church, she wasn't recognized. So when they finished, a bouquet of flowers that had been bought for me, everyone else laid theirs. Mine wasn't. I wasn't called to lay mine. And when they left, we all went up and had a service around his grave. And then now everyone was told, if anyone wants to say something, here is your choice. And people cried. People couldn't understand. He was only 26.
No.
Such a young soul, so promising, so with a big future. How do you just come and kill somebody like that? I think I'd written a poem. I was told if I wanted to, I could read it out. I read it, and I think that's when I really now cried properly. Like, I let it out. So when my mom was asked to say something, she just said thank you, because my daughter needed this.
Yeah. This was important.
Yeah.
It was more of a closure for you, right, girl?
And let's just say they have not seen my children since.
And how does that make you feel?
First few years, I was raving with bitterness.
You know.
I was mad.
Yeah.
And not at people, but mostly at God. How do you let something like that happen?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Why do you let bad things happen to the people?
Yeah.
And as opposed to seeking solace in church or in the Word of God, may I say deuces. But then that's what you do to people. Juices, mom, God. You go now to the world. Let me go and experience this world that you tell us to stay away from.
Yeah.
Because Maze, I have sought you for all my life, and that one time I needed you, you didn't come through.
Yeah.
That's how me processed. I'm like, deuces.
How long did it take you to come back? Because I'm sure you came.
I came back. I did. I think about 4 or 5 years of void.
Yeah.
When you think you're feeling that void, you're just making that hole bigger.
Yeah.
And it's such an empty shell. So I came back to him and I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm back.
Pick it from where we left.
Let's pick it up from where we left. I still don't trust you.
Yeah. But I'm gonna try.
But what my mom used to do, even when I've decided I'm not talking to Bowant, was every time I would panic about something, the kids, as they started, after they were born, I think I didn't process my grief. I packed it. Because when I went for a clinic, the doctor just in mention said, be careful with your emotions because they get passed on to your child. I was like, okay. So now even a fly would pass, I laugh. As in, I
want to trigger it.
Yeah, I packed me and decided let me just be mom. So when the babies were born, at some point they reacted to all the diapers, apart from hugging. I'm like, hey, you guys are expensive, gosh. And then I didn't have enough milk, so we used to substitute it with formula. Remember, the budget is of one salary, and all these demands are happening. Yeah. Funny thing is, now that I look back, God had been there every step of the way, because people would call, what do you need? There's someone who stood with me for the next 6 months after I was told they have to be on Huggies only.
Yeah.
He stood with me for the next 6 months and would send me money to buy in bulk. And I never used to prompt. It's like there was a reminder.
Yeah.
Before, just when it's running out, I'm told, here's a little something for your diaper run. And it used to be enough for 3 months supply. So they went on full Huggies until like they were 1, 2, 1.5 or something like that. When it came to, there's a time they started crawling and started trying to walk. And I called my mom, I'm like, oh my gosh, they need shoes. I don't have money for shoes. I don't have budget for shoes.
Yeah.
My mom would tell me, why are you telling me? Tell their God. Tell their father.
Their father.
So that's how she pushed me. I think that otherwise I think I would have just gone. Because she used to push me back.
Inside you. You wouldn't
Yeah,
have
yeah, I think
the
so.
seed was already inside.
But she kept pushing me back to, don't tell me,
Yeah.
tell him.
Yeah.
He's their father. He stepped in the moment
Yeah.
this happened. He stepped in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fine. So now I started talking to God and I'm like, oh yeah, they need shoes, eh? They need shoes.
Yeah.
Please deal.
Yeah.
That was my prayer to God, kid you not,
Yeah.
for like 6 months.
Yeah.
They need diapers. They need, I never used to talk to him about anything.
Yeah.
And he used to supply. Whatever they needed,
Yeah.
he used to supply. Then one day, I woke up and I'm like, I can't do this. This is empty.
Who am I lying?
Who am I lying to? This is just too shallow.
Yeah.
So at this point they are about 4,
Yeah.
4, 5. I said dating. I said trying to date.
Yeah.
The first time I tried, it was a disaster. I talked about it the entire time.
Oh, you went to vent.
My cousins forced me to a date. I'm like, you guys are not ready. They're like, no, go out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fine. Then he kept me waiting for 45 minutes. I kid you not, I ranted and talked about their father. And then I told him, now take me home.
Of the
Thank you. And he took me home. I was like, okay, Joy, clearly you're not ready for this.
not yet.
You're not ready for this. And then I took time off for a bit. And then I met this guy. Now, this is when my friend was like, she stepped in. Because she used to tell me, you know what, when you're ready, me and know you'll come back.
Yeah.
Everyone was praying. Have you prayed today? I'm like, for who? To say what?
Yeah.
You know, I was such a bitter person.
You were rebelling.
I was just being rebellious.
Yeah.
So one day she calls me, she's like, you know, when you go quiet like this, you're always up to something. What are you up to now? I'm like, well, now that you ask, I think I'm seeing somebody. And you know, the religion is really interesting. She's like, wait, what do you mean religion? Yeah, I was shifting. Jehovah's Witness, my friend. I was being indoctrinated.
Not that it's bad. We're not saying
It's not a bad religion. It's just that she clearly realized this girl is lost. And if she's not found, she's gonna go.
Go Kapsa.
So she told me, there's something I need you to attend on Saturday. I'm like, how much does it involve? She's like, stop thinking about money. You just show up. I was like, okay, fine. And then it was this forum by Pastor Angie Morenga for Purpose Life. She calls it the Purpose Life Forum. So she has this day where she talks about what you're going to cover. Have you ever sat down and everything in you is tugging? It's like your heartbeat is everywhere. He had called me, and this is where I was gonna be for the next 10 weeks. I was like, okay, fine. Sour.
So you were signed up for something.
So I called my friend. She's like, okay, fine, I've signed up. She's like, good. Now I know he'll find you. You just need to be in his presence. He'll find you. The day I broke down, and I think that's where the turnaround came, was in one of the classes we were talking about fatherhood. I cried for 3 hours, from the start of the class to the end. Why? Not for me, but because I had experienced a dad, and he's always there. But they don't know. They can only imagine what it feels like. I broke down for the entire class, and people ask me, how do we pray for you? I'm like, I just want to spend to bed. I can't do this anymore. I can't try and figure this out anymore. It's just too tiring. I'm drained. Done. I'm done. That's when I came back. And I told God, you know what? It hurts. I don't get why it happened. And I remember someone once called me, in all those condolences, calls and messages, there's this lady who called me and she slapped me out of self-pity. She told me, I'm not going to tell you sorry. I know you had that a lot. What I'm going to tell you to do is stop asking God why and start asking, what do I do now? She snapped me back into reality and I went back to work. Otherwise, I think I would have stayed home for a little longer. And she said, the reason why I've told you that is because you probably will never get the answer why. And it will keep you stuck.
Because you're always trying to figure out.
the answer. So stop asking why and ask God, what do I do now? And one of the things was go back to work. I was like, okay, fine, let's go back to work.
And how are the kids now? So in this space now, explaining to them, what did you narrate their whole ordeal?
Before they went to school, we were fine. We lacked nothing. Then they went to school. And then after weekends, and they're comparing stories of how the weekend was. My daddy did, my daddy said. And then one day they come home and they're like, Mom, do we have a daddy? They were about three and a half. And I told them, yes, you do. And you loved him very much. But he went to be the Lord. They're like, what happened? And I tried to tell the story to their level at 3. And the first thing they asked me was, but why did they do that? They could have just asked to share, we could have shared. For them, we can share like how we can share this, we can share that. And I saw them try and get their mind to understand what that was, what happened. And they had seasons and times where they would cry. And one particular one, I asked her, why are you crying? Like, I want my daddy. In my head, I'm thinking, as you're narrating your story, she knew her dad. They didn't, but there was clearly a bond because she was mourning the person she had never met. And I think 3 birthdays ago, the other one finally broke down. And she said, I don't feel loved. I wish my daddy was here. Maybe he would love me. And I realized I need to reaffirm and reassure. I think at some point I thought we were okay, but clearly they were all dealing with it differently. Right now, when I ask them whether they talk about him, they say no. But if someone asks, I say I say he died.
He's in there.
Yeah. Okay. Has it been easy? No. I'm at a good place, yes.
Okay.
I actually sent a message to a friend of mine on Sunday. This Father's Day is the first Father's Day in 12 years, Grace. I was okay. I was happy and at peace.
Yeah.
And not having that heavy heart and this potato that does not seem to move from here. I actually enjoyed that day.
Yeah.
What changed? Last year, I went into a ministry, a healing ministry, because I was bleeding out on anybody and everybody. Because at some point when my joy and happiness came back, I thought I was okay. So what did I do? I went on loving on people, because that's who I am. But what I was doing was opening myself up to more hurt. So I was piling it up, and last year, I think my body just decided, you know what? No, we can't do this. So I was recommended to this place. It's called LL Ministries. And I had to deal with 12 years of pain. Because that's where it starts. That's where that wound got bandaged. Not killed, but bandaged.
Yeah.
So all this time I'd been hitting at it, and it has been bleeding. And one day someone told me, they're gonna bleed out. And it will be no good to anyone, especially your children.
Yeah.
So I dealt with it. I'm still dealing with it. I have my days. And when I think through the last 12 years, it's with a smile, not anger or bitterness anymore, or pain.
Thank God.
Does it go away? You learn how to live with it, but also now you look at it from a very positive perspective. Yeah.
Man, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's different here. You guys, I just celebrate you in every angle. I know loss is not easy. Like I said, you don't heal from it, in a day. But I'm glad that both of you are finding your own way of, just dealing with it and finding help. It's important to find help outside. You'll realize you're not alone. Yeah, and I hope you can recommend the group that you have. I don't know if you know about it.
No.
Maybe you can connect later. And if you have anybody who needs a support system, there's a group that Teteiyan knows about. Support system is important, especially if you're dealing with grief. And maybe we'll put the details later. I don't know if you'd want your contact, or maybe they can find you on your social media and then you can make them up. But from us thank you so much. Thank you for allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Thank you for making me use the tissues that were not suitable. Loss hits very differently.
Yeah, it does.
So I hope those who've gone through it can find avenues to process it. Don't run away from God like Joy.
Yeah.
There's no running away. As long as the seed of God is on the inside of you. I read about Jonah this morning. I was thinking about Joel and Jonah was running. But as long as the seed is on the inside, God is going to find you. And He doesn't need you to be perfect. God wants you with all that mess, that crying and those makamasis that are going through. God wants that. Yeah. And if you're in that position, please reach out. We will find you help. And you can get over it. You can get beyond it. Maybe not over it, but you can come on the other side. True. And come on strong. So thank you so much, Tete. Thank you, Joy. I am grateful. There goes part 2 of Cradle Love with Grace Kirapa. See you next time. And God bless you in general. Bye.